Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Line Unbroken, my progression-style playthrough series of the Lord of the Rings living card game. Here I am playing the 6th and final scenario from the Ringmaker cycle, the Antlered Crown. There is no flavor text on this quest card 1A. Setup. The first player takes control of Chief Touch. Set Raven Chief and Raven Chief's camp aside out of play. There they are. Reveal one copy of Dunland Battlefield and make it the active location. Time 3, forced after the last time counter is removed from this location. Each player assigns X damage among characters he controls, where X is the number of cards in his hand. Reveal one copy of Raven War Camp and add it to the staging area. Time 3, forced after the last time counter is removed from this location. Starting with the first player, each player draws the top card of the Raven deck and puts it into play engaged with him. Each player chooses one different enemy from the Raven deck and adds it to the staging area. Create the Raven deck, see Insert, and set it next to the Quest deck. Each player chooses one different enemy from the Raven deck and adds it to the staging area. Shuffle the Encounter deck and Raven deck. So the Raven deck is down here. It has its own separate discard pile here. Shuffle the Encounter deck and choose some enemies. I'm going to take this Dunland Prowler. Thus avoid its surge, and I will also take a Dunland Tribesman. It's slightly strange, I've always felt, that all the generic Dunland enemies make up the Raven deck, whereas all the specific Raven clan enemies are just in the regular encounter deck. But never mind that. This incidentally is far from the first time I've tried this quest, but I discarded all the old recordings after I realized that I was making the same mistake in all of them of just forgetting that one of the enemies had an ability in its text box. So, starting afresh, also from some of the failures I've learned what I should really be doing in how I'm playing these decks, which I should have known already since I built them, but somehow I didn't. Which is essentially, this deck wants to mulligan to make sure it has some decent willpower, such as Nenya. Innate Guide is also incredibly useful. This deck looks for attack power straight away. The Song of Battle is nice, but most importantly is either a Master of the Forge to find the important attachments, or one of those important attachments like the Rivendell Blade or the Bow of the Galadhrim, to put onto Haldir so that he can kill, for instance, this Dunland Tribesman in one hit. So, on your return journey to Isengard, you find war in Dunland. The Raven clan has refused the Boar's claim to the Antlered Crown, and Chief Turch asks you to join his clan as they march to battle. Seeing an opportunity to earn Saruman the friendship of a unified Dunland, you agree to join forces and fight. Because unifying Dunland and making them all trust Saruman, there's no way that could possibly go wrong. He's definitely not going to turn them into an army to attack Rohan with. That would be crazy talk. Time 3, forced. After the last time counter is removed from this stage, remove one time counter from each location in play. Place 3 time counters on this stage. And Control N. Okay, this is pretty great. Oh, and Chief Turch calls in objective form is 1-3-2-5. Boromir stats. The first player gains control of him. Immune to player card effects. Chief Turch does not exhaust to defend, and if Chief Turch leaves play, the players lose the game. So, alright, under the circumstances, I want to play Olorian straight away. Then exhaust it to reduce the cost of the next Sylvan I play by 1. I will play Innate Guide, which because of Celeborn gets +1 to all its stats, and because of Galadriel does not exhaust to quest this round. And I will choose Haldir to also not exhaust to quest this round. Thus, the Nath Guide, since Haldir would not otherwise be questing, the Nath Guide effectively gets me an extra 4 willpower, 2 for itself and 2 for Haldir, as opposed to I'd only get 3 out of the Handmaiden. And I'll spend Galadriel's resource to play Nenya. which is potentially another 4 willpower. Oh, this tribesman, because we each drew a card in the resource phase, is 2 threat. And now here, let's play the Song of Battle right away. Let's play the Rivendell Blade onto Haldir. And I think let's also play a Rivendell Bow onto... yeah, let's make it also Haldir. Now, handily, I've managed to get both decks down to only 4 cards in hand, which means this Antlered Prowler is not getting +1 threat for a player having 5 or more cards. So there is only 5 threat in the staging area, rather than 6. And so let's quest. Chief Turch is also an ally who entered play this round, and thus does not exhaust quest because of Galadriel. So 1, 4, 6, 8, 10. Reveal. Raven Skirmisher. When revealed, either remove 1 time counter from the active location or reveal an additional encounter card. I will remove the time counter. And driven back, remove all progress from each location in the staging area. Increase the total threat in the staging area by 1 for each progress removed this way. If no progress was removed by this effect, driven back gains Surge. So nothing and Surge. And another Raven Skirmisher. I will remove another time counter. So I've added 4 threat. I'm currently making 1 progress, but if I exhaust Galadriel and Nenya to add 4 more willpower, I will make 5 progress and clear the location, so I don't care about the time counters on it. Now I will of course travel to the Raven War Camp to get rid of it. Unfortunately, I have more enemies than I was hoping to have. Fortunately, this deck is below the engagement costs for all of them. So I don't need to actually do any optional engagements. Everything will naturally just come down here. Deal out shadow cards. Now I can use Haldir's combat action, because this deck is not engaged an enemy this round. I can have Haldir attack an enemy not engaged with me, so it will be one of these, which is dead. Rivendell Blade reduces its defense by 2, and Haldir is attacking for 4 since it's a ranged attack, and he has a Rivendell Bow. So that's 1 defense I don't need to make. Erkenbrand will defend this one. Defending player discards an attachment he controls. I will say, no, I cancel that shadow effect by having Erkenbrand take a point of damage. Now Chief Turch does not exhaust to defend, so he will defend this. Attacking enemy gets +1 attack, so it's now 3 against 2. Chief Turch takes 1 damage. And now essentially, yeah, I can kill one of these, but not the other. So I suppose I should kill the Skirmisher because it's more attack. So 3, 5, 8 is more than enough. I trigger Legolas to place 2 progress on the quest, but it goes to the active location. In the refresh phase, well, I'll do it properly. Control R. Chief Turch crosses the table, and then at the end of the round, we remove a time counter from everything with time counters. And Control N. And these bonus stats are gone. Alright. Well, that feint could certainly be useful, so look at the hands upon the bow, and I have no lore cards, so Haldir can't play anything, so I guess that's it. Over here, on the other hand, yeah, let's... Lorien. And then pay 1 for... It'll be either a handmaiden or the minstrel, because Galadriel has a lore icon thanks to Nenya. I suppose I'll play the handmaiden, since the minstrel would let me find an event, which is nice, but that would increase my hand size back to 5. And I'd like to keep it down a bit. Plus, the only event that I would be particularly bothered about would be a Test of Will, which I would not be able to play, because I just spent Galadriel's resource. And I will choose to have this deck lower its threat by 1 for the handmaiden entry play. So, there is 2 threat in the staging area. Let's quest for 2, 3, 6, 7, 10. Wild Men of Dunland. Condition which forces me to deal damage when I draw cards. And it surges, Raven Village, and Raven Village. Okay, so that's up to 6 threat. I make 4 progress. 4. Under the circumstances, I will use Galadriel and Nenya to get 4 more progress. I could obviously hold her back and use her to draw a card, but because I would then have to deal a point of damage, I think I would rather not. So, this is explored. I will travel to one of the Raven villages, move into combat. Haldir can use his ability to attack into the staging area and kill this Dunland tribesman, since the Rivendell Blade reduces its defense to 0. Erkenbrand will defend against the Prowler. A mistake. This goes to the Raven deck discard pile, so I hit Shift Delete rather than just delete. There's no shadow effect. Erkenbrand takes no damage. Legolas attacks for 3, and the handmaiden for 1, dealing 1 damage. Shadow card is discarded. Chief Turch crosses the table. Time counters are removed. Control N. Alright, so I will play an Errand Rider, then exhaust from Lorien, pay 1 for the Handmaiden, Errand Rider over here. These stats are gone, these come in. Search the top 5 cards of my deck for an event. Okay, Island Amid Perils is the only one available. And then let's pay 4 tactics resources for Rumill. After you play Rumill from your hand, choose an enemy engaged with a player, deal X damage to that enemy, where X is the number of ranged characters you control, which in this case is 1, 2, 3. So I deal 3 damage to the Antlered Prowler, which is dead. Shift delete. It goes to the Raven deck discard pile. And let's Errand Rider a resource over to Milan. I'm not sure if I want to play this Rivendell bow right away. I'm not sure where I want to put it, because obviously on Legolas it would be more attack at ranged. But potentially I could just give ranged to Celeborn or Merlond. On the other hand, of course, I can save the resource for a feint or a hands upon the bow. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Now, there is 2 threat in the staging area. Now do a quest for 3, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's make it. It's a 10. I'm going to make it 12. And reveal Wildman of Dunland again. Oh! Because of the initial Wildman of Dunland, I had to deal damage to characters I controlled for drawing cards. So 1 here and 1 here. That does nothing against Search. Either remove 1 time count from the active location or reveal an additional encounter card. That will essentially come to the same thing, because it's either I reveal another encounter card, which could be anything in the encounter deck, or I remove a time counter from the Raven Village and reveal the top card of the Raven deck, which will definitely be an enemy. So I think I will... On the other hand, there's other stuff that removes time counters. I'm just going to remove the time counter. And then reveal the top card of the Raven deck. Control Shift E. Dunlanding Bandit. And the second card of staging. Old Hatreds. Another condition. And a Raven War Camp. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 6 additional threat added. We're making 4 progress. 3, 4. And okay, let's pay 1 for Hands Upon the Bow. Exhausting Legolas to attack the Raven Skirmisher in the staging area with +1 from Hands Upon the Bow. He's attacking for 4, and so kills the Skirmisher, replaces 2 progress, and reduces the threat in the staging area by 2. So I'm making 6 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is explored, and these conditions are all discarded as we advance the quest. Chief Turch's goal is to defeat the Raven clan before they can marshal their full strength. But Dunland is a vast country, and there is much ground to cover. The longer it takes you to subdue the enemy, the more time they have to gather. When revealed, shuffle the Raven deck discard pile into the Raven deck. Then, starting with the first player, each player takes the top card of the Raven deck and adds it to the staging area. So... another bandit, and tribesman, but it is added to the staging area, not revealed, so I do not draw cards for it. Time 3. Forced. After the last time counter is removed from this stage, reveal the top card of the Raven deck and add it to the staging area. Place 3 time counters on this stage. Each location in the staging area gets +2 quest points. So let's go to the Raven War Camp. I want to get rid of that as fast as possible. And I'm below the engagement cost of all of these enemies. But if I leave them in the staging area, then Haldir can only kill one of them. Well, in fact, he can only kill the tribesmen. Whereas if I engage, then he can kill the tribesmen in the staging area, and I can at least do damage to a bandit. So let's engage a bandit. The shadow card. He is of course attacking for 5. Haldir will attack into the staging area and kill the tribesmen. Shift delete. And now let's see. I mean, I'm going to use Feigned Voices to prevent the attack. So I suppose let's Feigned Voices on the Minstrel, thus preventing the attack, and Galadriel will exhaust to lower my threat by 1 and draw a card. Unexpected Courage is a useful card to draw. Oh no! Oh, that? No, okay, hang on. Put the Minstrel back. Make it the Nath Guide instead that I pulled back for Feigned Voices, because now 3, 5, 6 attack is enough to kill the bandit. Should delete. I was thinking the Minstrel because then I could go searching for more events, but killing the enemies is more valuable. Chief Church will cross the table. Time counters will be removed, including from the Raven Village, which causes me to reveal the top card of the Raven deck and add it to the staging area. Important to note, however, that the time counters on locations do not automatically replenish themselves the way the ones on the quest cards do. It doesn't say place 2 time counters on this stage. So, it is reveal, and since players have 3 or more cards in hand, the Prowler gains Surge. So we reveal the regular card. Each doomed 3. Each player draws 3 cards, and until the end of the round, players cannot play events. Fortunately, it already is the end of the round, so that last part will not do anything. So, of all the times that card could be revealed, that was probably the nicest. Alright. And that is everything for the end of the round. Control N. I'm not currently suffering any negative effects for drawing cards. Okay, so let's pay 2 for a Master of the Forge. Pay 1 for Captain of Gondor. And I think I will leave it at that for the moment, holding on to a resource for Feint or Hands Upon the Bow. Now over here, actually no, wait. No, So I'm going to exhaust the Master of the Forge to set the top 5 cards for an attachment. Okay. Grab both of the battery. Move a resource. Actually, I only need to do that if I actually need a fainting hand on the bow. So for the moment, I will just play the bow onto Haldir. These stats are gone. Now over here, pay 2 to make Galadriel the Steward of Gondor. And then, well, let's see. Unexpected Courage would be really nice, but I'm thinking I'm going to get the Silver Lamp into play. There we go. And then Olorian, pay 1 for Nath Guide, and declare that Haldir will not exhaust quest this round. So, 2, 4, 6 threat in the staging area. Request for 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13. And actually, I'm going to hold back Chief Church. 12. We reveal a Raven War Camp and a Dunland Battlefield, so that's 5 additional threat. If I hands upon the bow with Haldir, then that would kill something. Get me an extra couple of progress. But it would only be 2 additional. Not enough to push through the location. So, for all that this wastes the Silver Lamp, I will exhaust Galadriel and Nenya. So I make 5 progress. 3, 4, 5. This is explored. And I'll travel to the war camp. Now, this deck is still below engagement costs, so I will optionally engage this, and this will engage naturally. I exhaust Captain of Gondor for having made an optional engagement. Deal out shadow cards. Haldir will use his combat action to attack and kill the Dunlanding Bandit before it can attack. Erkenbrand will defend against the Prowler. There's no shadow effect, so he takes no damage. And we attack for 2, 5, 7, and kill it. Placing 2 progress for Legolas. Just to check that, yes, I've got my discard piles correctly. There are 14 cards between the Raven deck and the Raven discard pile, which is the right number. Chief Church will cross the table. We remove time counters and Control N. Compared to the plays of this quest that I had before, when I was making mistakes, this has been much nicer. Not showing off how challenging this quest can be as well as I did in those other ones. But, so it goes sometimes. Right. Those stats are gone. Let's pay 3 for Warden of Helm's Deep. Actually, no, wait. I don't have any Sylvans over here, so if I want to make use of Lorien, I should play this Defender of the Knee. And pay 2. I won't play the Warden, but I will play an Unexpected Courage onto... I'm thinking Haldir. And over here, let's exhaust the Master of the Forge. Top 5 cards. Okay. Lembas would be nice, but I'm going to grab the Ranger Spikes and play them. And then I suppose I'll hold on to the rest of those resources. And actually, no, wait, I will use an Errand Rider to transfer a resource to Melond and play the second Master of the Forge and exhaust him. Grab that Rivendell Blade and play it onto Legolas. Right. 5 threat in the staging area. No enemies currently in play. Plus I've got Ranger Spikes. So 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14. And we reveal a Raven Warrior. This is the card which, in my previous attempts, I was forgetting that it had an ability. I was ignoring the forced effect, which is potentially quite significant, removing a bunch of time counters from play and triggering these effects earlier. In this case, however, it lands on the Ranger Spikes, so I will not have to deal with that forced effect. And Raven Country. So this -2 from the Ranger Spikes is 1, so 4 additional threat. I'm making 5 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could use Galadriel and Nenya at this point, or I could draw some cards. Yeah, I think I will just leave it. Use Galadriel to lower threat by 1 and draw a card. Another Errand Rider. I'm looking for a test of will, is the thing. That's the one thing I really need to feel secure. And Raven Country is time 4, so I'm not as concerned about it as I might be. But if it's on the battlefield, the damage could be a lot. So let's travel to the battlefield. In the refresh phase, Chief Church, obviously across the table, and we remove time counters. 1, 2. So reveal the top card of the Raven deck and add it to the staging area. When revealed, each player draws a card. Okay, that's my Southern Tracker, that's nice. And place 3 time counters on this stage. And Control N. His stats are gone. This is 2 threat because we each drew a card. Alright, so, well, I'll definitely put bow onto Legolas. So both my big attackers are powered up. And Lorien will allow me to play a Sylvan Tracker for 2. That will be it. Over here, Exhaust Steward. Now I will pay 3 for the Warden of Helm's Deep. Also, Errand Rider, resource to Erkenbrand to play another Errand Rider, and then play Unexpected Courage on 2. Let's make it Merlond, and then I will give her the Rivendell Bow. Since the idea is that this deck will be the one engaging all the enemies. Alright. 2, 3, 6, 8 threat in the staging area, and we'll quest for 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And reveal Battlefield and Raven Warrior. So that's 6 additional threat. I'm currently only making 2 progress, which is really not enough. Under the circumstances, I will exhaust an Errand Rider to send a resource over to Legolas, which he will use to play Hands Upon the Bow. Since he's attacking an enemy not engaged with him, he needs 5, 6, ignoring 2 points of defense. So actually I could just kill the Raven Warrior straight away. So let's kill the Raven Warrior, placing 2 progress, and removing 3 threat. So now I'm making 5 progress, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's much better. Next, let's travel to Raven Country. Exhaust Galadriel to lower my threat by 1, draw a card. That increases the threat of the tribesman by 1, but that will time counter. But it doesn't matter, obviously, because we're not questing anymore, and because Haldir can kill him instantly as soon as we get to the combat phase. The Raven deck is still correct. I don't think I want to exhaust the Monsters of the Forge right now. So, as your church crosses the table, time counters are removed. 2. And Control N, and of course Sylvan Tracker. After a Sylvan character readies during the refresh phase, heal 1 damage from that character. Merlond did not ready during the refresh phase because she wasn't exhausted. Celeborn did, however. This is an important point to bear in mind with this Unexpected Courage. Okay. Exhaust Steward. I'll pay the full 2 for a Handmaiden and drop this deck's threat by 1. And I'll pay the full 3 for a Defender of the Nave. Because then I'm going to use Olorian to let this deck play a Minstrel for 1. So there's top 5 cards for an event. Darren's Runes will do. Play Irvindale Bow onto Melond to give her ranged. Exhaust the Master of the Forge. Let's grab the Black Arrow. Shuffle and then play it onto Haldir for free. Exhaust Master of the Forge again. Grab Lembas. Play it onto Erkenbrand. Play Darren's Runes. Don't need another Song of Battle. Okay. Looking pretty good here. 2, 3, 6 threat in the staging area. Let's quest 3, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 16, with potentially another 4 from Galadriel, and then I need 15 progress to advance. $19, 20, 21. Okay, let's go with that. And Raising the Cry. Remove 1 time counter from each location in play. Place X time counters on each location in play with no time counters on it. X is the time X value on that location. Okay, so that removes 1, 2, 3 time counters and places 2 on this. But it doesn't trigger any effects. So I've added 2 additional threat to the staging area, and I'm making 13 progress. Exhaust Galadriel and Nenya. Make that 17 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is explored, and we advance the quest. The warriors of the Raven clan won't stop fighting as long as their leader spurs them on. You must find the Raven Chief and defeat him in order to break the spirit of his men and bring an end to this conflict. When revealed, add Raven Chief and Raven Chief's camp to the staging area. Take the top X cards from the Raven deck and add them to the staging area. X is the number of players minus 1. So, Raven Chief, Raven Chief's camp, and the top 1 card of the Raven deck. Dominant Raider. Okay, that's interesting. Raven Chief's camp is immune to player card effects time 3. After the last time counter is removed, exhaust each damaged character. That's 3 time counters on this occasion. Oh, this is flipped over now. Time 2, forced after the last time counter is removed. Each engaged enemy makes an attack, place 2 time counters. And at the end of the round, if Raven Chief is in the victory display, the players win the game. Raven Chief cannot have attachments. While Raven Chief's camp is in play, Raven Chief cannot be damaged. And when Raven Chief attacks, remove 1 time counter from the active location if able. So obviously, I can't kill him until I get rid of his camp, so I'm going to travel there straight away. Now, this guy will deal a lot of damage when he engages me, so I would rather that he didn't engage me. Thus, let's play Island Amid Perils, returning this Minstrel to my hand and lowering my threat by 2 to get below that engagement cost. I will optionally engage the Raven Chief, exhausting the Captain of Gondor. Now, it takes 8 to kill this. Lose effectively 7. That's annoying. Let's play the Tree People, returning this Minstrel into my hand. And look in the top 5 cards for a Garland Archer. Genta's play with +2 all stats, for all that matters, but importantly deals a point of damage to the Raider. Then Haldir can use his combat action. He's attacking for 5 and ignoring 2 points of defense, which is therefore enough to kill the Raider. And over here, I will just play Famed Voices, returning Handmaiden, maybe? No, Knife Guide. Returning Knife Guide to my hand so that the Raven Chief does not attack and therefore does not remove a time counter from the active location. I can't damage him, so there's no point in doing anything else. Chief Church going across the table, and a lot of time effects are about to go off. Yeah, so I was hit control Arnor. Merlond heals from the Sylvan Tracker. Now, time counter. Time counter. Each player assigns X damage among characters he controls, where X is the number of cards in his hand, so that's 5 and 5. So, let's move these stats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And reveal the top card of the Raven deck. It's another Raider. And okay, that's everything. Control N. Feint. I'd say just in time, but I already have one. So I want to play the Minstrel again. And that will be fine. So I'll exhaust Lorien, pay 1 for the Minstrel. Switching the top 5 cards of my deck for an event. Seeing the enemy. And I can save resources. Let's play Light of Valinor onto Celeborn. Pay 2 for the Knife Guide. And let's say that Haldir does not exhaust the quest. This way, with the unexpected courage, he can use his ability and take part in a regular attack. And let's also pay 2 for this Minstrel. Actually, hang on, slight retcon, I should play the Minstrel first. And okay, that doesn't make a difference. But I was going to say I should play the Minstrel first, because then, if I found a test of will, then instead of playing the Knife Guide, I would use an Errand Rider to give another resource to Galadriel, so that I could potentially play the test of will. Instead, okay, there is 2, 3, 6, 8, 11 threat in the staging area. Quest for 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19, 21. That's all I can do. Actually, no, hang on. I'm going to go back into this and search for. It's not helpful. I guess I'll grab Wingfoot. Shovel. I was looking for Protector of Lorien. Because that could obviously get me some more willpower by discarding cards. Okay. Well, in that case, I'll also play Tree People to pull back this archer and bring in another archer, hoping for a minstrel, which would bring more willpower. There's a point of damage there. I mean, actually, the archer can quest for 1. 22. I'll stop short of playing another Lembas on Oaken Brand and questing with him. So, 22 against 11. We reveal the Raven Village and Wild Men of Dunland, which surges into Raven War Camp. So I've added 4 threat. I'm making 7 progress as it stands. So I will send Galadriel with Nenya, another 4, so I make 11 progress. So 7, 9, 10, 11. This goes to the victory display. Now I can damage the Raven Chief, so all I have to do is kill him. Dunland Raider is going to engage, which I don't want to happen. I will travel to the war camp just for the hell of it. Play Island Amid Perils to return this Handmaiden to my hand. Drop my threat by 2. Heal a shadow card. It's at the end of the round. I should have put some of the damage on Kogon onto my errand riders instead. Never mind, I didn't think of it properly. So, okay, I'm going to play Pursuing the Enemy. Returning the Scaldon Archer to my hand to deal 1 damage to each enemy engaged with this player. So that's 1 damage on the Raven Chief. And now I'll add Black Arrow to the victory display and have Haldir use his ability. Actually, oh no. Haldir could actually just one-shot the Raven Chief now, but in the interest of getting a slightly higher score, I will do what I was planning to do in the first place. Feint the Raven Chief so he doesn't attack, and then attack with everyone, which is enough to kill him, He goes to the victory display. I will discard Lembas to ready Birkenbrand and heal 1 damage. Well, up to 3, but needed 1. Touch crosses the table. In the refresh phase. Sylvan Trackers, heal damage from all the Sylvans that just readied, which is why it gives me a better score. I suppose I'll get a slightly better score again if I do this. And that is it. It is the end of the round. The Raven Chief is in the victory display and I have won the game. As I said, that was a lot easier than some other times that I played the quest. Because this quest has the potential to be really harsh. It just sort of depends on what you reveal when. In fact, the fact that I started with sort of multiple enemies was quite nice, because enemies I can just kill, whereas locations I can only travel to 1 at a time, so some of them the time effects are going to go off. Some of them did, but not until I was already somewhat established. Whereas if I'd just revealed loads of locations at the start, then I mean my combat stuff would have nothing to do, and I'd potentially be getting location locked, and then that slows down my exploring the active location and means it's more likely that the time effects will go off. Also, there are some cards that can just ruin everything if they come up at the wrong moment. Like this one. Each player draws 3 cards until the end of the round. Players cannot play events, and Doomed 3. So the Doomed 3 means it's that much more difficult to avoid engaging enemies, which sometimes was key to my strategy, like the Dunland Raider. I could have engaged him and dealt all that damage. 1 characters I control, 5. Or whatever it was at the time. I would have survived, but it's a lot easier that I didn't have to, and Doomed 3 would have made it much more difficult to avoid. And then each player draws 3 cards, makes those effects much worse. It triggers the, what are they called, the tribesmen that gain threat every time you draw cards. And then you can't play events. So having gotten the Doomed 3, so you're going to engage everything, you then can't play Feint or Feigned Voices, and you may not have enough defences to cover everything. Oh yeah, I could have put an Unexpected Courage onto Birkenbrand. That was probably something that I had in mind. But then I never needed it, because I was staying below engagement costs, and so Haldir could kill things in the staging area, or engage things before they attacked. What else? Yeah, raising the cry as well. Remove 1 time counter from each location in play, because potentially you sort of plan this out, and I mean, in this situation, we look at it and see, okay, so this would have gone off at the end of the round. But then, yeah, because potentially you can sort of prioritize your location. So in theory, there could be a situation where I'd say, okay, I'll go to the Raven Village, which will then go down to 1 time counter, but then I'll explore it, and this will be at 2, and I'll travel to this, and it'll be at 1, and then I'll explore it. And that would be fine. Except for you reveal this and remove time counters, so the thing that's active at 1 time counter now has none. Or, well, no, it replenishes itself. And you have to trigger the effect, and the thing that was on 2 that you were going to travel to next is now on 1, so you can't avoid the effect by exploring it in time. So it just messes up your plans. Wildmen of Dunland and Old Hatreds, if you get those stuck on your quest cards. The worst is if you get them on stage 3 and you're taking a little while to get through it. Obviously, because there's no next quest stage to advance to get rid of them. You just have to win. Yeah, so some specific cards that, if they come up at the wrong moment, can just ruin everything. But equally, once you get established, it becomes a lot more manageable. And especially avoiding some of the after this engages a player effects with controlling threat and using Haldir. Some of the other plays, the less successful ones, I was ending up in like threat in the 40s because of things like the Raven Country, where something went wrong in my plans of when I explored locations, so I had to raise each deck's threat by about 5 or so. Or maybe I got this coming up. So Doomed 3, each player draws 3 cards, can't play events to get them out of my hand. And so, I mean, imagine that under these circumstances. We both got to 36 threat, and then can't get anything out of hand because can't play events. So then this goes off at the end of the round, and we raise threats to 44 and 46. So you can see how it can potentially all come crashing down like that. But fortunately it didn't in this case. So that concludes the Ringmaker cycle. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.